Mindset Mechanics 101, the science of business success based on the laws of physics. Hi, it's Carlita Wright, and today I will be your host for these introduction videos. The purpose of this series is to teach you the basic principles of how your business actually works so you can have amazing levels of success and performance. Now, here's our outline for today. I'm going to address 5 big questions. We're going to go over the framework of mindset mechanics, the approach of mindset mechanics, the outcomes after you read the book, and I'm going to give you a call to action. So we are entering into 2025, and there are several of you who are leaders of organizations, businesses, your CEOs, your executives, your managers, and you're asking yourself 5 big questions, especially as we enter into 2025, into the new year. And sometimes you're asking these questions at the same time. And the questions are framed around mindset, performance, management, strategy, and execution. So, mindset mechanics is going to help you develop and grow your mindset. The book is designed to help you know the right business model. It's going to also help you know what type of values you should focus on when you're building a high performance team and the strategy that makes all the difference in order to execute your plan with effectiveness and speed. As you can see here on this slide, this is the picture of what we're talking about. This is the synopsis of the book. And here is everything we're going to talk about. We're going to dive and weave and ebb and flow in and out. But I promise you, by the end of this, you will have the strategies to be successful, to differentiate yourself from others, and to think with clarity and purpose. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first question many leaders are asking themselves around mindset is, what mental frameworks and strategies do leaders who are successful use to make themselves different from others? Who are you and who do you want to be? That's the start of the questions you're asking about when it comes to your mindset. Next is performance. Performance asks, how can we align our goals and actions to drive sustainable success while having a greater sense of happiness in our lives and in our business lives? How do you get more joy? How do you create more happiness? If you're in a business or organization that you're not fulfilled, how do you get there? How do you build or manage a business that you love? Like, you always hear people talking about they love what they do. How do you do that too? And how do you align your work and life so that it balances and you're not strained and pulled in so many different directions? And then ultimately, how can all this help to make the world a better place? And then there's management. Leaders are asking themselves, like, what is the formula for building high performance teams? And how do you consistently deliver results? How do you make it more easy to manage people? And how do you make money and also have vitality, the energy you need to maintain good management principles? Strategy. They're asking, how do we identify the next best moves and ensure that it's aligned with our vision, and why is alignment so important? And then there's a story you have to tell yourself, a story that helps you begin to make the best decisions, not in the short term, but in the long term. And you got to be very clear on why you're doing what you're doing and how it fits to the overall strategy. And lastly, the framework around execution is, what systems and what processes can you use to effectively execute with speed? Because it's all about getting things done and getting things done with speed. And the best way, how everything works together. What's the best way for them all to work together in harmony that saves time and saves effort? That way you're not draining yourself and you're getting things done. Mindset Mechanics provides these universal answers to those questions. And the way that we approach this is that these answers are proven, they're true, and they will always be true. So now, what's the framework of mindset mechanics? Well, mindset mechanics is based on real world experiences, management theory, and physics. Now, when I say real world experience, I was fortunate enough to be the founder and CEO of one of the fastest growing transportation companies. Now, in that experience, I really learned that the methods and models that got me to one level of my success, it really wasn't enough to keep me there. It could only get me so far. And as I was not able to scale the way that I wanted to, I was also making mistakes. And I made every mistake that you could imagine while I began to advance the business forward. Now, things got so bad that I finally had to sit down and really reach out for help from some other experts who were consultants like Wayne Malcolm of BB Coaching Solutions LLC and Myron Golden of Skillionaire Enterprise LLC. Now, these were some of the first people to really sit down and teach me to take a more systematic approach to organizational transformation. Now, since I already understood systems, so when they began to break this down to me, it really began to make sense, and things began to click in ways I never thought were imaginable. Now, in growing and pivoting my business, I began to use the systematic principles and quickly transform my business to what it is today. Now, the experience of struggling to figure out what to do and to search for those solutions and then finding the solutions gave me the answer that really ignited a passion within me, and it helped me to find other methods in other models. It actually drove me to find other methods and other models to help scale to infinite levels. And one of my mentors, Lex Cisney, calls it infinite scalability. What he means by that is these models and principles can apply to you as an individual, your marriage, your family, how you manage your team, the different business you may get involved with. They can apply to any system, any situation that you get involved in, and actually you're able to scale it. Well, I'm happy to say that these principles can be found in Mindset Mechanics, and it was born out of real world experience. Now, when I say management theory, mindset mechanics also leverages certain parts of management theory. And it's very unique and distinct in a way that we can apply the laws of physics to an organization that can change it and transform it in a way that might seem weird at first, but once you really begin to understand the theory behind it and the science behind it, it really becomes like common sense once you begin to look at it. And the last principle, the last framework is physics. Now, physics is not only applied to the physical world or to science, and some would say that it doesn't really fit into business, but does it? Well, as it turns out, if you know exactly what you're looking for, physics provides every metaphor, every solution that you need to understand what's really taking place in your life, in your team, in your business. And what you do is that you create new levels of understanding when you begin to seek performance and you seek management and you seek interaction of cause and effects when you use physics. And so we're going to be using physics in this whole framework of mindset mechanics to really understand how things, especially your business, works. So while physics does apply to the physical world, in mindset mechanics, we use those same principles and apply them to our organizations. And I want to use a couple quotes you see here on the screen. But just like gravity, it's not just a good idea, it's the law. And Elon Musk says, physics is the law. Everything else is a recommendation. Anyone can break the laws created by people, but I have yet to see anyone break the laws of physics. So I thought that was kind of interesting to share because the same principles that you're going to learn about in your organizations are how things really work. Is there's no differentiation. How it works in science is how it works in actual physical life. So if you understand how things work, then, like a talented mechanic, you can repair a vehicle and cause the failure to cease or find the source of failure. And you're not just trying to mask a symptom, you're actually taking an approach that finds the root of the problem. And that's what we're going to do with physics. And when I say business vehicle, that's similar to your organization. So you are a talented mechanic and you are going to repair your business vehicle. You're going to make sure you get to the root cause of the problems you're facing. So the approach is to, be more collaborative, top down, systems approach in thinking. The approach we take with Mindset Mechanics is very collaborative. We're not just consultants that write reports and throw them over the wall and hand them down to you. No, we always work with a top down approach. And the reason is because it's the most effective way to create change in an organization. If you can change the mind of the leader, the person who's governing, you can change the pace and direction of the entire state. And we always take a systems thinking approach because when you think in systems, rather than being a reductionist, you actually look at how things behave within the system in its totality, including the interaction with the environment. And from that position, you can tell whether a system needs to create a new level of performance or whether we need to work with what we currently have. And I think that's most important when it comes to looking at management theory. Now, the outcome. The outcome is that we are going to take leaders from being trapped to being free. Any competing a priority, we're going to align with the strategy. Corporate amnesia is going to resonate as storytelling. And then internal friction is going to be fast execution. If you're facing a liquid crisis, you're going to go to sales with profit. And if you have a mediocre team, we're going to make them into an A team. So, what do I mean by that? The first thing we notice is when we're working with organizations is that the leader, the entrepreneur, the CEO, the manager, the executive feels trapped, and they may be experiencing what I had experienced in my career. Like you feel like you're not really expressing yourself the way you know you can, or you feel like you're not getting the results you know you could get, or you feel limited in some capacity. What I'm also talking about is when you feel like the organization or the business can't grow beyond you. It's only you're the bottleneck. And what happens is you find yourself becoming trapped. No matter how much you try to delegate or decentralize, you always feel like you're the bottleneck. And we have to change that to where we help leaders shift out of that trap into what I call leaders' freedom. One of the first things you should do is to we help leaders identify your vision model through a process I call visioneering. And visioneering is a combination of identifying your unique talents with the drive and a sense of purpose. Now, when we have visioneered your life and your business, you are more engaged, you're more empowered, you're more present. And here is the secret. If you can design your business around that vision model, then you can really begin to unlock your true value, your true happiness, and what really makes you successful. Of course, if you're going to do this, then it requires that you surround yourself with others who are also operating in their vision models, and they can cover your blind spots. And then you're able to operate the vision model in a way where you could not have done before. You're going to do this because you're putting yourself as a leader into a model that creates opportunities for you and for them. And everyone's able to visioneer their own perspectives and they're visioneering from a domain and an area that best suits them, and everyone's working together in cohesion and alignment. This is so powerful. When we really begin to tap into visioneering, you find how much fun it is and how exciting and creative it is to be able to create the life and business that really reflects who you are as a person, and as the organization continues to grow and what it would become in the future. So you want to visioneer. Then we have it where we have competing authorities. This is where I notice clients we work with who are typically growing very quickly, and there's a lot of priorities, but they're not being completed. They're starting and stopping things, and there's a lot of things to do, but no clear defining prioritization. There's no priorities. What's first? What's most important? What's our strategy, right? Well, we shift our clients from that to being more committed on the priorities that are most important to them. And that's what we do with mindset mechanics. It gives you order, it gives you clarity, it develops your strategy to where the key top moves are known and executed on, and they are committed. They're committed priorities. We also notice in our clients before we start working with them that they've lost sight of who they actually are and why they existed. They forget the whole purpose. They get so inundated in the day to day, forget why they do what they do. And this is seen in organizations and leaders and in leaders at any level. So there's a sense of corporate amnesia happening in the company culture. And we shift your focus toward renewal of foundational stories. Like, why is it that you do what you do? And when you get very clear on a foundational story to where it compels others, where you're saying, what's the compelling story here? Why does this business exist? What is so important that we can do in the world? When we get clear on that, and you be able to find a resonating power that that moves the business forward and changes in ways that you could never have imagined. We also see that there are sometimes there's high internal friction or entropy, which we'll talk about later, and it's really hard for the leadership and the teams to make decisions and get things accomplished. And we shift them from that to a mode that they're internally aligned. Everyone's moving at the same pace, same beats, and they're able to execute things really quickly. We also see that there's a liquid crisis where you're bringing in money, you're bringing in income, but it's barely enough to cover your expenses, and we shift you into where you have increasing sales or a liquid boom and profit. Most important, you have money left over, you have profit. That's the goal, and that's what mindset mechanics is going to teach you to do once you understand how the science behind it works. And the last thing we also see is that the teams are showing up like a B team or a C team. They're mediocre, right? And what's happening is the environment is misaligned. The team doesn't know how to find the right people or to how to attract them. And we shift them the environment so that it aligns with the culture and the structure and the way decisions are made and how they're processed and implemented. So people are in the right seats, people are in the right roles where they can actually thrive. And then all of a sudden the team starts to grow, right? It's like magic. Get people in the right people in the right seats and they grow. So it's all about changing the environment and making sure everything is aligned within the system. Now I invite you to dive into these next 5 videos. I want to say one last thing before we do. It's not enough. It's absolutely not enough that you understand the principles of mindset mechanics. Your team also needs to understand them too. So mindset mechanics is going to make it easier for everyone in the organization and on the team to actually start seeing things the same way, start speaking the same language, start to walk the same walk, right? In a way that complements each other. That way you know what to do next. So I want you to watch these videos with your team and enjoy.